These are my confessions. Just when I thought I said all I can say, my chick on the side says she got one on the way. These are my confessions. Man, I'm thrown and I don't know what to do. I guess I gotta give part two of my confessions. If I'm gonna tell it, then I gotta tell it all. Damn near cried when I got that phone call. I'm so thrown, I don't know what to do but to give you part two of my confessions. Now this gon' be the hardest thing I think I ever had to do. Got me talking to myself, asking how I'm gon' tell you about that chick on part one I told y'all I was creeping with. Say she's 3 months pregnant and she's keeping it. The first thing that came to mind was you. Second thing was, how do I know if it's mine and is it true? Third thing was me wishing that I never did what I did. How I ain't ready for no kid and bye-bye to a relationship. These are my confessions. Just when I thought I said all I could say, my chick on the side says she got one
These
on the way.
are my confessions.
Man, I'm thrown and I don't know what to do now. I guess I gotta give part two of my confessions. If I'm gonna tell it, then I gotta tell it all. Damn near cried when I got that phone call. I'm so I don't know what to do but to give you part two of my confessions. Stuck on stupid trying to figure out when, what, and how I'ma let this come out of my mouth. Said it ain't gonna be easy.
Hello, good night. How are you doing? Welcome to another episode of Conversations and Confessions. I am your host, Kay Lowery Moore. I'm honored that you are joining me this evening. Tonight, I have a awesome show. I'm going to say this might be one of those life-changing shows because my guest for tonight is Sir Charles Carey. I have a picture to show. Sir Charles Carey. He is a national trainer, a motivational speaker, and I'm sure you all will have just much to take away from this show tonight. I'm going to show his intro video because I can introduce him, but I really love his promo video. So check out this video by Sir Charles Carey.
When was the last time you heard a speaker or trainer excited about their message and sold on delivering that message to you? Sir Charles Carey, the motivator, the educator, the Amazon bestseller, the alternative recourse expert. He says the right mindset is all you need. Warm, heartfelt, and meaningful. You've seen him in the community. You've seen him in the media. Sir Charles Carey, 2-time cancer survivor and full-time life encourager. From New York to Texas, Boston to Chicago, Detroit to DC. Charles has been on radio, television, and in print. A Toastmaster, a counselor, and a member of the National Speakers Association. He's touched lives around the country, and now he's got the Cure series just for you. The creator of Radiate the Brain and Change the Game, and the author of the Amazon bestseller, Courage Facing Mortality. Cancer wasn't my only obstacle. Whether he's training in government or speaking to private industry, he believes in speaking with purpose and training with passion. The alternative recourse expert, Sir Charles Carey.
Okay, we are here with Sir Charles Carey. What do I call you tonight?
Sir Charles is good.
Sir Charles. Okay, how are you tonight?
I am excellent.
Thank you for joining me in the studio this evening.
Thanks for having me on the show.
No problem. Charles and I, Sir Charles and I, we go way back. I remember being a featured poet at your Wednesday Wordplay.
Wordplay Wednesday, yes.
Wordplay Wednesday,
Uh-huh.
and I'm glad that we keep in contact because you never know when you start new ventures. I've been doing this radio show now for about 6 months.
Oh, okay.
So I am honored to have you on the show, and just we want to have a nice conversation. I like for everything to kind of be relaxed, but I do want to give my listeners, my viewers, I know some people are watching, some people are listening, just a little bit, not a little bit, but a lot of what you have to offer, because one thing about life, I believe that we all need some type of motivation, some type of inspiration.
Right.
And as I was preparing for the show, watching some of your videos, I was inspired. That's why I was like, I'm ready. Because, no matter how successful you are or the things that you're doing, there are days when you just feel like, okay, I'm not making an impact. You start questioning, are you, just doing the things that you should be doing, and so it was kind of like reinforcement. Some things I said, okay, I'm on the right track, but then there are other things that I said, okay, I need to work on. So before we get into some of the motivational stuff, just give me a little bit about your background.
Well, my background started out in the entertainment directly. I was a musician, which I still am, but I just have redirected my energy and my focus. Writer, lyricist, vocalist mostly. Did a lot of music performing around the country, a little bit out of the country. And that was the plan, just to go full throttle and do this music thing. And it's kind of weird because my last project, I got a notification that I was in the top 20 of the independent artists.
Okay.
And I wasn't even promoting the project. So when they told me that, I was really excited, because here I am not really pursuing music like I used to. And my last project, which had about maybe 7 or 10 tracks, people were liking it and people were listening to it. And I knew because I kept getting royalty checks.
Okay, yeah, that's always wonderful.
So, but music is my background. Music is something that my family has been involved in for a long time, as long as I can remember. And I'm really grateful that, I do have that as a past, because it was part of the training ground to help me transition from the stage of music to the stage of speaking, training, and motivating. Okay. So, that's just where I come from, Okay. But I love it. I've done a lot of other things. I've been in films with Nicolas Cage, John Voight, Ed Harris. If you've seen National Treasure, you see me. I was in it, and I made the final cut. Okay. So, but
awesome.
Yeah, and I produced some films. I did a little bit of different things.
And if you see me on the laptop, I'm not being rude.
No, you're fine.
A lot of times, I check in with Facebook to see if anybody is following the show. So
look, this is the way of the world today. You have to be
it's funny
able
because on radio, the traditional radio, people don't see the behind the scenes.
Right.
So this is a lot of pressure because everything you do, people are watching. So which is,
Well, we gotta get you to blow up so you can get your assistant, and your assistant can be checking your tweets and all that.
Exactly.
That's all good though.
So I just wanted to just let you know that I'm not being rude.
No, you're good. Good to go. I just want to thank you again for having me on the show. I think as entrepreneurs and as business folks, sometimes, we cross paths and you never know when you're going to come back. So it's good that we have those relationships, because there's always a reason, and if you look at it, there's always an opportunity to help build each other up. So
it is.
It's great.
And it's funny because I posted on Facebook today that as I was watching the video that I just showed, I was getting a little emotional because I know you, but I didn't know you were doing all of the things that you were doing, and I also didn't know. Your background about the cancer survivor.
Okay.
I think I do remember that, but you don't really keep those things on the forefront.
Sure.
So it was just nice to see that you were able to beat cancer and beat other things, to be able to give back, to tell your story. Because I always feel like you have to go through something to be able to help someone else.
That's right.
And I know there are people out there that have a difference of opinion, and that's okay. But I feel like we have to be able to connect to people, and we are, as African Americans, I believe we are a hurting community. I'm not saying that other people aren't experiencing things, but I see it. Go ahead.
But you're right on target. I think as you're saying, you got to start at home. Yeah. And even though the world is a huge platform, or a huge apartment complex, if you will, and there are other people that live in other apartments within that complex, it only makes sense that you have a heart for your own folks. It doesn't mean that you're against others.
Right.
It just means that, hey, you and I have something in common. Hey, you and I resemble each other. Hey, we have a natural kinship. So, like you say, we have, as a community, I feel that there's a void that many of us are trying to fill, but we're not really sure how to fill it.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of pain, There's a lot of pain in the world. But within our community, there's a lot of pain also. So I don't want to take you off your off,
but no,
off
but
track.
you're right. You're right. And sometimes I try to make sure that I'm not offending any one outside of our race. But you're right. As African Americans, I think that a lot of our challenges are. For me, I think that they are unique.
Right.
And yesterday, I went to an empowerment seminar at my job, and the speaker. His name was Harvey J. Coleman. He wrote a book, Empowering Yourself, and he's like 74 years old.
Wow!
So he was speaking on how he started, as far as being back then he was Negro. Well, he was actually something else, but we're not gonna go there.
Okay, we ain't gonna go
there. But he was talking about how difficult it was, and I was inspired because you hear motivational speakers from our time, but to hear someone that have been in this since
right
way before I was
back in the
born,
day.
just to hear the things that he went through, and he talked about his journey, and you could see some people getting a little uncomfortable, but it's real, and I don't understand why people are so uncomfortable talking about black-white issues. And one story I have to share this. He was talking about the differences in being timely. And he said, if I have a party, that party starts at 8 o'clock.
Right.
Let's say the party's from 8 to 12.
Okay.
He said from 8 to 10, he has an all-white party.
Okay.
Meaning all of his white friends are there on time. So I'm crying laughing. But other people are sitting there like, oh my God, did he just say that? But that's real.
Yeah, it is.
We're not the most timely people. I mean, you beat me here, so you're timely. I'm timely,
it's okay.
Well, sometimes I'm timely, but and then he said between 10 and 12, he has because he was talking about whites, blacks, and Hispanics. I guess those are his core friends. He said in between 10 and 12, he had the best multicultural party ever. So then he said in between 12 and 2, he got an all black and all Hispanic. Now, mind you, the party is over at 12.
Right.
But we like to linger. We like to come late. But he's sharing just the differences in the way we do things so we can understand each other. Yeah. But a lot of people were so uncomfortable. So why do you think people are so uncomfortable talking about diversity?
I think, I know, even for myself, honestly, sometimes when you're speaking to people of the opposite persuasion, as they say, you're speaking to white folks, you don't want to offend.
Right.
You don't know how they're going to feel about you saying certain things, whether it's directly about their race or whatever. And depending on the personality, someone that's very serious or very stiff, again, breaking the ice or going beyond those borders of, is it okay? Is it acceptable? In fact, it's weird that you even asking me this question, because I was asked to describe someone today, and I told the person it was an African American guy that wore glasses, and you'll probably see him in the next couple of minutes because he's on his way in your direction. So a white guy I knew, he called me, he says, let me ask you something, man. What's the difference if you say black guy or African American guy? Because Brits don't say a black Brit, they just say a Brit, but here in America, it's African American or a black guy. And, I say, well, me personally, either of those two is fine. However, I don't engage British or other cultures on a personal level a lot. But there's certain exceptions, and probably part of the problem is there are too many exceptions. For instance, if you're talking about a white guy and he's a professional, you may say he's a Caucasian gentleman, but if you're talking about a white guy that you don't know, that you don't know, you're more reserved, and because you don't know them, it's a certain discomfort. But if you know them, you may even go street on them,
right,
and because of the friendship or the relationship, yo, what's up, my end, and it may be cool because you know one another. But there's always all these exceptions, and it's like, okay, well, is this an exception this time? Or if you're mad at me, is it okay? Or if you're not mad, is it okay? So you have all these rules, all these exceptions, exclusions, cliques, inclusions. And it's just weird.
It's weird, and it's one thing that I do know, especially working for the federal government, we have to do diversity training,
right?
And you will start to learn that the assumptions that you may have about a culture, that once you get to know someone, you may say, oh well, they don't fit into that,
right?
That what they think,
right?
Because I have had people ask me, where am I from? And I'm like, well, I was born and raised in D.C.
Right.
But to them, I don't present myself as what they have seen as a person from D.C.
Right.
Which is,
what they see on TV or something, some images.
Or just the news that they see in certain parts of Southeast. Or, they when you see black people, because I say black African American, like you say, depending on the situation.
Right, sure.
When they see us, if they see us in a certain light, or especially in the media, some people think that represents who we are.
I think part of our problem is, as talented and gifted as we are, we don't use or tap into all that makes us who we are. And by that I mean, the true diversity of African Americans. We can speak as eloquently, we can be as creative as we'd like to be, but we don't always use it. And when I speak at schools, and I like to share with the young folks, for example, you have to learn how to work both sides of the coin. Meaning, there's nothing wrong with using slang. If that's how you get down, that's all good. That's what we do. You know what I mean?
Right.
However, when you go into that office to interview, or when you're trying to get something from someone in a formal setting, you need to make sure that your diction is on point and that you're using words that express exactly what you mean, so that they don't misconvey where you're coming from, and they perceive you as you are, as an intelligent being. But if everything is only on one side, y'all, man, I'm just trying to do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? That's not the way you want to be viewed, and that's not the way you want to communicate. And it doesn't make you a sellout, weak, whack, or nothing. It's just that that you have to handle your business, and you don't want nothing messing up your business getting handled properly.
Right.
That's being on point.
And it's funny you say that, because in the seminar that I attended yesterday, he spoke a lot about life in pyramids.
Okay.
Because in life we have different levels. People may not want to look at it as such, and it's not to say that we look down. I mean, some people may, but not to say you look down on people who are on a different level.
Right.
But everything that we do, whether we all know that when you got your high school diploma, you were here. But if you now have a PhD and you working for, you're a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, now you on a different part of the pyramid.
To whom much is given, much is expected.
Exactly. So it's like, I try to always tell people, it's not about being better than someone else, because with each goal I achieve, at least one person says that. You think you this, or you think you that.
Right.
So it's almost like they're trying to keep you at a certain level.
That's right.
Because you want to keep your associations with people, but at the same time you want to advance. So and you
shouldn't feel guilty in that process.
Right. And it's funny because some people do. Yeah. If you feel like like I always tell people, if you decided that a high school diploma is all you want to do, because I know people who are successful without a degree.
That's right.
But don't make us feel bad because we decided to pursue higher education.
Are you a sellout because you're trying to get smarter, or because you're able to make more money because you devoted more time and you studied? That makes. Just think about that. What kind of sense does that make?
But it's like, even in school, I was a nerd because I did my work. I actually went to school. I did my work, made good grades, and
you that girl? I thought you looked familiar. Let me stop.
But that's what they was do. Are you a nerd? Because you're about your, and and in today's society, I feel that's why a lot of kids struggle, a lot of kids drop out, a lot of smart kids.
Yeah.
And because they're getting the pressure from their peers, because kids are being bullied and picked on for being smart.
That's right.
And
they dumb down so they can fit in.
The class clown, there were guys that I went to school with that were smart, but because they wanted to stay on this level of being cool, they now became the class clown.
Yep. Yep.
And so, I want to. Do you speak to the youth at all, or do you just
Yes.
speak more to?
I speak to youth. I speak to all groups, and in business, we shift as we evolve. And I've gone through a couple of different branding stages, but I speak to youth. I speak to nonprofits, government, community organizations. I think that my message is not only universal, but I think it penetrates all demographics because the core of my message is about transformation, and we all evolve. Another word for that is transition. Another word for that is change. Another word for that is a breakthrough. But it's all about making shifts in our lives. So transformation is something that affects every human being on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what age, what race, how attractive, how rich. It doesn't matter. We all are going to go through different phases where we're going through some kind of challenge, good challenges or bad challenges. And when it comes to transformation, everyone is affected.
Mm-hmm. And the one thing that one message that I constantly have been hearing lately is pretty much when you stop changing,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much stop living.
Yeah, you got.
And that may not be the exact words that I heard,
but you're right.
It's in the
Are
way
you living or are you existing?
exactly, because if you're not willing to change and adapt to what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, what are you doing?
Yep.
But there are people who are definitely afraid of change. And so my question to you is, while you out giving your speeches, do you find people who are resistant to your message?
I don't usually get to know that directly because
Okay.
I speak on different platforms. Sometimes I don't do a lot of coaching, but I like to because then I can give the person, whoever
Right.
it is, really I can pour myself into them and I can give them more of what they may need by listening to them and finding out what's going on in their world. But as a trainer and as a keynote speaker, I can't say that they're resistant, but sometimes if it's not a huge audience and it's a training or workshop setting, you can see the people in your class that are not attentive to your instruction or what you're trying to share. And I know that I'm only responsible for the effort. I can't guarantee the outcome.
Right.
But each and every time I speak or train or do whatever anywhere, I try to give 110%. I try to leave empty because I know that I don't know everything, but all that I do know, if you want it, you can sponge up and get this because we can go there.
Right.
Okay,
so tell me more about your journey with your books. I know you have how many books do you have?
I have three books.
Three books?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is first of all, tell people how they can find you on what's your website?
Okay. My website is sircharlescarey.net or sircharlescarey.com. Either of those sites will take you to the same place. I'm known as an alternative recourse expert, and that means I help people go from where they are to where they want to be, and in some cases where they need to be. My books, I have 3 books. The second book is called
we don't have
Courage.
the images.
Right. The second book is called Courage Facing Mortality. Cancer wasn't my only obstacle. Now that book became an Amazon bestseller.
That's your second book?
That's the second book.
Okay.
This here that you're holding is the current book, the third book, Radiate the Brain and Change the Game. This book, oh my goodness, I'm getting so much positive feedback from this book because this book is filled with 21 chapters, 15 chapters filled with exercises, insights.
I cheated. This must be my copy.
Well,
I cheated.
I get that's okay. This is the workbook. It's a
I
3-piece
see
set.
my name signed to me. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's a 3-piece set. It's a workbook, what you're looking through now. It's the actual hard copy here. And it's also an audio program. The audio program focuses on people, places, and things. The workbook, some of the assignments from the actual book is in the workbook. Some people like to write in their books. Some people don't. The difference between the two is that the workbook does not have the additional chapters, but it's great for a person that wants to do their assignments on the run. I am getting such great feedback from Radiate the Brain and Change the Game, and I'm truly excited. I think it's truly my best work to date. The forward was done by a good friend of mine, the 32nd top speaker in the world, Delatoro McNeil.
And it's funny because when I was watching one of your videos,
Right.
I saw him. I remember him from, I went to the Blacks in Government conference. I don't know when it was. It was probably 2002, 2003. It was early on because I was at Department of Transportation.
Okay.
And he was one of the speakers there.
Right.
Because when I was, like I said, I was going through some of the videos
Yeah.
preparing for this interview, and I said, wait a minute, he did one of the seminars when he was just starting out.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, but go ahead.
No. Now, this is the funny thing when talking about Delatoro. My second book, Radiate the Brain and, Courage Facing Mortality. Cancer Wasn't My Only Obstacle. I had a forward on that book by Willie Jolly, and he is the 12th top speaker in the world.
And I have a picture with you and Willie Jolly. Eric, can you show the picture with Charles and Willie Jolly?
Yeah, he and I, he has been a great mentor, friend, brother. He has poured so much into me over the years. I will always be indebted to him because just a great human being, taking personal time out of his day just to share information with me about the business. You know, the thing is, Dr. Willie Jolly and Delatoro McNeil and myself, we all studied under him.
Okay, and it's funny because Willie Jolly, he was a guest on the show that comes on directly before this one, Dr. Barner's Hour of Power.
Okay.
And I remember he was flirting, so I had to put it out there. That's my confession. Because I do have some pictures I said I would post on Twitter.
Okay.
And it was just funny because, I knew who he was because I knew that he was a couple of friends of mine's sponsors.
Okay.
Not sponsors, mentors. Because you did a speaking engagement that was like on his platform.
Yeah, it was called Change the World, something like that. Dr. Jolly, he had this event where myself and many other speakers nationwide were on a platform to add value to the community at large, and I was definitely one of the speakers. I was so nervous. I don't even think he knows, and because it was his first time seeing me speak live.
Okay.
Now he's taught me, he's trained me, but I don't think he's ever seen me speak live. And I was like so nervous. You think, well, you've been out there on the circuit for a while. Why would you be nervous? He's my mentor, and it's like a parent. You getting to see you do his thing. He getting to see you do your thing, which sort of is a representation of himself as well.
Right, because you're right. Because whenever D Grant, hi D, she says that's a nice picture.
Oh,
of
thank
Charles.
you.
And,
thank you so much.
Thank
you.
But yeah, it's no matter, and it's funny because because I used to do, of course, I did the spoken word.
Right.
And no matter how many times I recite something, I'm always nervous.
Right.
Before anything, because the thing about, you're in front of people.
Yeah.
So when you have put yourself on a platform, you put yourself on a platform to be judged.
Yeah, that's right.
And people don't realize that's a hard thing to do.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
Speaking in front of people, and although people don't realize that I'm doing internet radio,
yes.
But this show is broadcasted live in over 130 countries.
Wow! Hey everybody!
And it's every week I get my stats, and I'm amazed at the countries that tune in. To the show. So, you never know who's watching.
That's right.
Anyway, so I try not to think about it too much. I try to look at it as just a conversation, and that's one of the reasons why when I was thinking of a show title, I like doing interviewing, but I didn't want it to be so stiff.
Right.
So that's why I just decided to do a conversation and confession. So that way we can just feel like I'm just having a conversation in the living room.
That's
Normally
right.
I have wine and things like that, but lately I've been trying to cut a few calories. So, I've been trying to cut back just a little bit. So, but I want to know more about your first book is called Courage Facing Mortality.
Actually, it's number 2, but yes.
Well, oh, your second book. Okay,
Right.
sorry.
Uh-huh.
Cancer wasn't my only obstacle.
Right.
So tell me about that journey because you had cancer.
Yeah, the short version is that I remember I was about maybe 8 or 9 years old, and I remember my dad telling me a long time ago. He said, "Son, if you can't look at yourself in the mirror, that's a problem." And there was this one Saturday morning I got up to wash my hands to start my day, and those words came back to me. And as those words came back to me, I realized, wow, you've been using drugs for 25 years. So I was about 34, 35 at the time. And due to the fact that I had been using drugs all that long period of time, I realized I needed change in my life. My younger children were 2 and 3 at the time. And I was like, wow, I can't do this anymore.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Go ahead. I'm listening.
And when I stopped, I give them full credit for saving my life. I always tell people that God convicted me through the eyes of my children. And I love my children so much. And they know it too, but Charles, Sasha, and Kashelle, always going to love you. No matter what people think, no matter what people say, they are my core, my legacy, my everything.
How old are they now?
They are, man, you're going to embarrass me, but it's all good.
I'm telling your age.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm comfortable with myself. I don't care about that.
Well, my kids are 17 and 21.
Oh, okay. So yeah. Well, my oldest, Kashelle Vonet, who she really helps her dad out a lot with the business. She's 32. Charles Jr., he's 23, and Sasha Devine, she's 22.
Okay.
So, and I got 3 grandkids. But the point is, I made that shift, and I stopped using drugs. So I began to become normal, and live life on life's terms. And then I got hit with cancer. I was like, dang.
But let me ask you this. Let me back up a little
Sure.
bit because this is where the confessions come in. Sometimes our confessions are, a little bit lighter as far as. But tonight, this is obviously a more serious topic.
Right.
What was it that? Because I'm always curious. What was it that turned you to drugs?
Well, honestly, because I was trying to fit in. I wanted to be cool. I was trying to be down, and I was cool, and I did get down. I got so down that I couldn't pull myself up.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
But you know what? I applaud you for being able to recognize that.
Yeah, look, if I'm going to help a child, adult, whatever, you got to keep it real.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So as far as I'm concerned, I'm never ashamed of my past. That's not who I am. That's just something I did. So if I'm going to help someone, I need to be transparent.
That's true.
So I don't mind.
And that's why I always tell people, you never know who can benefit from your story.
That's right.
And that is the hardest thing that, a lot of people, they don't want to seem vulnerable. They don't want to expose any of their weaknesses. And when I start telling people, the things that I had to overcome,
sure.
For me, it wasn't necessarily in the drugs or anything like that, but I lost my mother when I was 10 years old. Okay. So I struggled growing up. I struggled with just being okay with what life has to offer because I had to start off so young.
Okay.
And people don't realize that I was angry because of that. I used to fight a lot. People thought that I was angry or was kind of closed off because some man hurt me.
Okay.
They don't realize that I was hurt by the loss of my mother. I was lost.
Right.
And there were days where I didn't want to be here. And I never really contemplated suicide in the sense that people say they have, but I just felt like if I just wanted to disappear.
Okay.
So when I would do things, I would try to. It's funny because as much as I like attention, but then I would try to fade in the background.
Well, see, that goes into what we spoke about earlier in the show. Trying to fill the void and experiencing pain all at the same time. A lot of us don't know, one, that we're trying to fill a void, but we know that there's something going on in our lives that we don't want to experience. And that what's going on is that you're trying to fill a void. So how do you fill the void? Many of us, we run the food, we run the drink, we run the drugs, we run the sex, we run the spending. You run to watching television. You do all the things
just
that
to keep your mind
just to keep your mind occupied And you know what? At the end of the day, you still do not fill the void.
You can't. And certain things you have to understand. You have to be okay with not filling that void, because the fact that my mother is gone, there's nothing that could fill that void. Nothing.
Well, there's only one thing I know that can really.
Well, God.
Yeah, you
okay,
go.
yeah. But I'm gonna say any earthly things.
Yeah,
or
no,
the
exactly.
worldly things.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
you're right.
Yeah.
But then to top that off, not to say to top it off, but to add to that, in 2004, I was hit by a stray bullet.
Oh, wow.
And so, and I got hit in my back less than an inch from my spine.
Wow.
So for years, the thought of what if was driving me insane.
I think there's another book in you, a specific type of book.
And it is, and it's funny you say that, because I had a business conference call over the weekend, and he was definitely getting on my case. He's like, you need to tell your story.
And
this
you
is
know
what you need to do.
That's what Dr. Willie Jolly did with me. I saw him at a conference before Courage Facing Mortality came out, and he said, Sir Charles, he said, you're singing, you're acting, you're doing spoken word, you're doing all this stuff. He says, you need to tell your story.
Yep, I just got that harsh message. So, yeah. And
you know why, though? It goes beyond it being your story. The reason why I'm saying this to you about your story is because there's someone, man or woman, I don't know, it doesn't matter, that needs to hear your story. Not a story you've written, but your actual story, the way you tell it in your voice, because that's going to heal someone.
And it's funny because I talk about that. What I tried to do was in my novel, I tried to embed my life in it, but like you said, I didn't tell it, but I still need to tell it head on.
Yeah.
Because when in the beginning, when I was doing a lot of the book club meetings and things like that, when people would talk and I would say, well, that something happened to me, but I just changed it, and their whole expression would change. Like, oh, I didn't know that happened. There's people that I worked with for years that didn't know that I got hit by a stray bullet, because I literally went back to work in 2 weeks, like nothing happened.
Right.
And I just remember thinking, my kids were little, and my oldest son was around 10, and that's how old I was when my mother died. And I'm thinking I could have left my children, and it is so difficult. We have enough to deal with in the world. Right. So trying to battle your past and the things that happened to you while dealing with what's currently going on, it's enough to drive you crazy. Yeah. And that's why I'm a big fan of motivational speaking, because sometimes it's like there's things that but sometimes it's when you hear it at the right time.
Yeah.
The right time. I have heard a message every day, but it wasn't until I was open to receive it that I finally got it.
Right. And sometimes you may get different things from the same speaker, but you're getting those different things because at that time you may need something different,
Yeah, so but I wanted to, touch on that. But so tell me
I'm sorry. I was gonna tell you that thank God, I was able to get over the drugs.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And after all that happened, I was told about the cancer, and I didn't know what to do. I waited, whatever case may be, and it spread. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So I finally got my questions answered, and the cancer, I got chemo, and the cancer went away, but it only went away for about 8 years. Then it came back, and it came back more aggressively.
Oh, man.
And I think it was 2011, I was re-diagnosed, and that's the second time. So I did, again, what I needed to do, but it was coupled with jaundice, so my eyes were yellow, my kidneys were shutting down, and I honestly did not realize how close I was on death's bed. I know my faith is very strong, and I give God credit for leading and healing my life. So, shortly after that, that's when this book came about. My previous book had come out already. I met Dr. Jolly, told me to tell my story, and then Della Toro, he was doing this reality show, and he said, if you want to be on this reality show, you got to write a book. So I wrote this book, Radiate the Brain and Change the Game.
But it's funny how, like you said, paths cross. He was a motivational speaker at one of the Blacks in Government.
Right.
And some of the things that I probably still have my books knowing me
Right.
from the conference. But it's like you just never know when, like you said, about paths cross. When
Sure.
you meet someone and you kind of go in your different way, but it's like sometimes we just come back. And I'm glad that we having this opportunity because I didn't know some of these things.
Okay.
And you never know what another person is dealing with, have been
Right.
through. You look at somebody and you'll say, "Oh, they successful." That's one thing I love about. I'm a huge fan of unsung or behind the
Yes,
music.
yes.
Because when you see what these people, because they're people,
Yes, right.
but what these singers they go through, and I'm sitting there like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
it's inspiration for me
Sure.
to say that most people, we all go through something, but some of them are so successful that we don't even think about their lives in that sense.
Yeah, because we put them on a pedestal and they're above stress, they're above failure, they're above, so many things. And the reality is that they're not. They're regular people. It's just that there's a spotlight on them.
Right.
I wanted to share with your audience about some things.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Oh, perfect.
March 7th, I got an event coming up in New York called the Health and Wellness Empowerment. And what I'm doing is I'm taking about 3 professionals from the DMV to the NYC, and we're going to do this event. And we're focusing on fitness, nutrition, supplements, and support groups. And we're going to have a few people do testimonials. And the objective is to just take this information and bring it to the community at large there, because many times in that community, people don't have a chance to hear directly from someone that's gone through those challenges or someone that's an expert in that area. So they get a chance to hear on a personal basis, and maybe they also may have an opportunity to get some one-on-one consultation, with people that are experts in these fields in the health community. So I'm excited to be able to do that. And the irony is that I didn't realize until after we had the location that's the exact same community that I did a lot of my dirt in.
Oh, wow.
So now I get...
Is that, are you from New York?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I get to go back
Wow,
and
that
add
is
value
awesome.
in that community. So I'm really looking forward to sharing, and
So
doing
what
this.
I'll do, because I don't have the flyer
Okay.
for that tonight, but I do remember seeing that
Okay.
on Facebook. But what I'll do is on my next show, I'll
Sure.
make sure I promote that for you.
Oh, please.
And post that, because I do have, network in the New York
Okay.
area.
Okay,
And
that'd be great.
so that way, because what I try to do here, once you're a guest on my show, your family
Okay.
while I'm in business. So if
Okay.
it's any event that you want to post or share, that I'm always here.
Okay.
This is the platform
That's
that I'm
good to know.
creating to make sure that my artist friends and
Mm-hmm.
people around me are reaching an audience. And you just never know who, like you said, you never know who
That's right.
may need your message
That's
at
right.
that time. So tell me a little bit more about the Radiate the Brain, Change the Game. Give them like
Well, I've been on tour since August of last year. I've gone to Dallas, Vegas, Delaware, New York, Virginia. I mean, I've gone almost all over the country, Tampa, Florida, because it was birthed because of the reality show. And actually, that's being shopped now. The reality show is called The Keynote. That's being shopped. We're trying to get picked up by a television network. But I've been all over the country doing workshops, promoting the book. The event on March 7th is resuming the book tour, and it's just incorporating the tour with a workshop. And then hopefully we're going to come back here to the DMV and do the Health and Wellness Empowerment event here also. And then we're going to do a couple of other events here in the DMV. June 13th, we'll be at the Suitland Recreational Center, myself with Ryan Green, Matthew's going to kill me because I'm Matthew Horn, and Janice McMillan. We're going to be doing an event called Help Us Help You. and I'm looking forward to that because they're all speakers like I'm a speaker. I think Matthew and Ryan, they do publishing. Janice deals with women, I believe 40 or 50 years and older. And my area again is transformation as an alternative recourse expert. So, but this book, I think it really can change lives, and I'm not just saying it because I wrote it, but
radiate the brain and change the game. I love
21 chapters. Think about this. You get a chance, the reader, they get a chance to assess themselves, not through my eyes, but through their own eyes, if they're honest with themselves. And they can step by step measure up and say where I am when it comes to risk and fear, where I am when it comes to the mistakes I made.
It's funny that I would flip to this page.
Which one?
What are some of your fears? Because in the conversation that I had while I was getting the 3rd degree, pretty much, I was saying that there were certain things that I was just afraid. I'm scared. People don't see me. They see me in this strong woman light.
Right.
They don't realize that there are things that I'm afraid of as well.
Sure.
And so this is something that I know I need to answer. You know, what are some of your fears? What would you risk in an effort to obtain your goals? Because and it's funny because as I meet different people, I met two young ladies who will be on my show soon, hopefully, and they have this slogan. Because I have that T-shirt that says "Do it afraid."
Okay.
Meaning, the more scared you are, probably the more successful you're going to be.
Right, true that.
So, because when even with this show, when someone contacted me, at first I was like, oh yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a while. Then when I thought about it, I was like, oh man, I thought of every reason why I couldn't do it, why I couldn't start, right now. But then they was like, if you don't start now, you won't start.
Yeah. And that's one of our biggest problems.
I'm looking forward to reading and working in my book. But what I want to do, because it's funny because these hours go by so quickly, I want to tell me a little bit. You have a membership that goes?
Yeah, there's a membership. What I want to put out to your audience too, I offer a free 15-minute consultation for anyone that's viewing the show and that's really interested in addressing some of the issues or challenges of their lives. All you have to do is get in touch with me through K. Lowery or inbox me on Facebook. I have all the social media platforms, but contact me through Facebook and it'll be a lot easier. And I'm going to offer you a free 15-minute consult. And what's going to come out of that, if you are interested in really trying to move forward in your life, I'm going to try to show you some things that can help you identify what direction you need to go into, and if you're really serious about your life, because my whole slogan is the cure for your life, it starts with you. If you don't participate in your own rescue, shame on you.
And I posted that today. Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
I posted because I was watching a video and you said some people are not willing to participate in their own rescue.
It's true. It's just so true. They'll fight you tooth and nail with the nonsense and so forth, but they won't take an active role in being successful. Now, I'm not talking about being a millionaire. I'm just meaning to change their circumstance. Maybe just to get up and have enough money to pay basic bills, whatever it is. Success is measurable, first of all. Let me just say that. Don't think that success means you have to have $500,000, a mansion, a yacht. No. It can be that, and it is that. But it's not realistic for it to be that for every single person. Some people, success may be just getting a job. Some people, it may be just, success may be to stop doing certain activities. Whatever it is for you. So anyway, free consultation, a 15-minute consult. And in the process of doing that consult, we'll see if you're serious about making the changes you need, and hopefully we can help you go to the next level. And that's going to be a free FREE giveaway to everyone that's heard the show and that taps in and is interested.
So the video that I have to show, that's your membership?
Yeah, that membership portal, you have a couple of options. I can work with you, or you can do it on your own basis, on your own level. And that membership video, it talks about how that happens.
Okay, so Eric, I'm gonna show the other video, the membership video, the Cure membership.
Mm-hmm.
We've all seen and heard ads about how you can and should be better at this or that. But here's the rub. You don't work with the actual person pitching the product or the person that created the product. Now you can actually choose if you'd like to do it yourself or have the expert do it with you. National trainer, speaker, and author Sir Charles Carey gives you that opportunity with the Cure membership portal. You can actually learn from someone that talks the talk and walks the walk. He's an overcomer of substance abuse, a 2-time cancer survivor, and a full-time life encourager. So he knows a thing or two about people on various levels. You'll be able to learn with exercises, personal coaching, videos, audios, and yes, information from his Amazon best-selling book, Courage Facing Mortality, and his new book, Radiate the Brain and Change the Game. In addition to that, he'll share various tidbits of insights from the Cure Series workshops, transition into the person that you were designed to be or the career that you were designed to have. Contact us now.
We're back. I really love your promo videos.
Thank you.
They're very, very nice. Well, we're winding down to the end of another episode of Conversations and Confessions. I enjoyed speaking with you today. I learned
pleasure.
a lot just from this 50-minute conversation. I look forward to reading the book and working in my journal.
Sure.
Because I know that there are some areas that I need to work on. So do you have any final words for?
Well, I just want to say that people, whoever's hearing this, whoever's seeing this, you have to realize whether you're actually in a business or not, you are the CEO of YOU. And as a CEO, you have a responsibility to yourself. You should have a vested interest in everything you do. I'm talking about the people that you deal with. I'm talking about the places that you go, and I'm talking about the things that you do. You see, the cure for your life starts with you, but the right mindset is all you need. So when you really look at it on a larger scale, there are pros and cons to everything. The people that you deal with. Are you dealing with the negative people, the dream stealers? And as I say all the time, some of the people that you may deal with, they may be dream stealers, and they may be in your home with you. You can't afford to let certain people in your personal space. If you cannot prevent them from being in your personal space, you must prevent them from being in your mental space, because that's your gold mine. And the same thing on the reverse tip. Well, let me just say, on the reverse tip, the people you're around, you want to be around positive people. People that are doing those things you want. And if they're not doing them, they aspire to do them. And the pros and cons weigh the same way when it comes to the places you go. Where do you go? How do you spend your time there? You know, what are the things that you do? How do you spend your time doing different things? You see, if you're going to a happy hour, there's nothing wrong with having fun. You're going to the buffet, nothing wrong with that. But go there to network, and that changes the game. So remember, as a CEO, you have a vested interest in everything you do. There should be an ROI in your life every day.
Return on investment for those of you all, I've got to break that down. But yes, I love that. So tomorrow when I go to work, I'm going to tell them I'm the CEO.
That's right. Of YOU.
I'm the CEO. Do you have that on a t-shirt? That'll be a
No,
good
the T-shirts
marketing,
say "The cure for your life starts with you" and the Cure Tour. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's the CEO. I'm the CEO of me. I
Yeah.
like that. But anyway, we're at the end of the show, and hopefully you'll be back to see me next week. The next couple of weeks will be my preparing for Valentine's Day. So the theme for next week is "Let's Get the Mood Right." That's from my Johnny Gill CD. I love
Johnny Gill is the man.
So the next couple of weeks we're going to be, even if you're single, we're going to be talking about some ways to kind of get through the season, because I know for a lot of people being single throughout holidays, especially Valentine's Day, can be very challenging. And as always, I thank you for joining me. And if there's anything that you want to discuss with me, I am on Facebook, K. Lowry Moore, Twitter, Instagram. Just Google K. Lowry Moore. I'm not trying to be funny, but Google me and I will show up. And just let me know that if there's any topics that you would like to see on the show, and I will incorporate them into the show. So see you next week. Good night.